Hello, this video presentation is an assessment of an ethical issue related to kinesiology. It's entitled The Sports Seasons Lawsuit. It refers to a lawsuit that was filed in my home state of Michigan. It was filed by a group of parents that represented female athletes in the state. They were entitled Communities for Equity. And the basis for the lawsuit was that female athletes in the state were being discriminated against because their sports seasons of participation did not line up with the high schools across the country and also did not line up with the NCAA institutions across the country. So the case was litigated for many years, began in the early 2000s. Finally, in 2008, the District Court of Appeals for the Midwest ruled that the High School Athletic Association was in violation of Federal Title IX, as well as the equal protection portion of the 14th Amendment. So the next step for the High School Athletic Association in Michigan was to pursue the case all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. However, the following year, the Supreme Court declined to review the case, and the High School Athletic Association was forced to realign the sports seasons. So at this point, presents an interesting ethical question, and it's a question that's been presented a few times in this course. And the question is, does equal treatment mean identical treatment? My position all along in this case, or with reference to this case, has been that changing the sports seasons from their current format would do more harm than good, and the sports seasons should remain just as they are. There are several reasons for this. There's a lot of evidence to support these arguments. Western Michigan University actually conducted a poll, and they polled many sources, beginning with the member schools, and asked them what their preference would be for the sports seasons format, and more than 82% of the member schools across the state indicated that they preferred the current format. That's one of the reasons why the High School Athletic Association actually pursued this case as far as they did, because they were attempting to support the member schools. They also polled the female athletes, all of them across the state, and even larger majority of them, more than 84%, indicated they prefer the current sports seasons format. So we're stuck with the two most affected entities with this lawsuit, and neither one of them want change. Another argument supporting this position is that the current sports seasons format is advantageous for college recruiting for female high school athletes. And the reason for that is in Michigan, with the current sports season, the female athletes play volleyball in the winter while college is playing basketball, and it's vice versa for all the sports. So the opportunity for coaches to communicate with athletes and view their performance is much more advantageous with the college season not being aligned with the high school season. So that's one benefit, and also another argument to support the case. The current sports seasons format is most beneficial for maximizing participation for all athletes. And the reason that argument is significant is because participation is likely to go down if the sports seasons are changed to be aligned with college and high schools across the country. So another argument supporting my position is that the current format for sports seasons allows female athletes the best opportunity for recognition and media attention. I think it's pretty clear from seeing how the NCAA men's basketball tournament and the NCAA women's basketball tournament are conducted at the same time. And as far as media attention goes, you hear very little in terms of recognition for the female athletes, and a highly commercialized commitment by all the media outlets to place a lot of attention on the men's basketball tournament. So the same thing is likely to happen if the sports seasons are changed for high school athletes in the state of Michigan. So the conclusions that I can draw from this are that female high school athletes will not benefit from changing the sports seasons. The lawsuit is frivolous and it has no merit. It was filed by a small group of parents that were parents of volleyball athletes in the state that were in pursuit of volleyball scholarships, and for some reason they didn't work out, so they decided that discrimination must have been at least one of the causes for the failure to get a scholarship, so they filed a lawsuit. Also, scholarship opportunities will not increase. Only 1% of the athletes across the state even are awarded scholarships, and that's not the purpose of high school athletic participation anyways. So my other conclusion is that in this case, equal treatment does not equal identical treatment, and there's a few reasons to support that. A few things I can mention about that. With the female athletes playing basketball in their own season and playing volleyball in their own season, there's just a lot of benefit in terms of recognition and media following, and also spectator commitment. If the girls and the boys are playing basketball at the same time, then you're unlikely to see substantial amount of participation, spectator viewership for the girls basketball or volleyball when they're competing with the boys. So those are the conclusions and the arguments supporting the sports seasons lawsuit and my position.